Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video I am going to be taking you guys through the process of project planning my Story Kit Crush projects for the month of September. So in the month of September, we are going to be using the Learn Story Kit, and there will be 4 Fridays. So I know that for sure I need to plan out at least 4 stories. I will be doing a bonus story on one of the Fridays for a school hop type of deal that's going on. So I will actually be doing 5 for sure stories, and then just seeing what else I can come up with to help me use up this entire story kit. So before I get into it, let me just talk you through some of the things that are on my desk here and just the beginning process of how to get this started. So I do have both the story kit and the story stamp. I've had the story stamp for a while longer. I purchased it during one of these Stories Revisited sales a while ago. And then I recently purchased the Learn Story Kit in addition to a few other ones in the last Story Revisited sale, which I believe was in July, June, May. I actually don't even remember what month that was in, but I purchased a few of them then, and this was one of those. So I have not used anything from this kit. I have the entire thing right here. I also do not have this kit digitally, so I will not be working with digital products in the sense of like the actual digital kit. I will probably be doing some sort of hybrid work, but that will remain to be seen. In addition to the kit and the stamp, I also have a couple of different storage containers here. One thing I really like to do is separate all of the ephemera bits into a smaller container, usually by shapes or sentiments or that sort of thing. And this is just a little one. It came as a pack that I got off of Amazon. And it's got these little removable like windows, so I can make the spaces bigger or, you know, keep them as small as this. The middle ones, like these, do not remove, but all of these do come out. This one, I think, yes. So the only ones that don't are these two, and then the middle rows. So this I will use in order to like break everything apart. I also have an embellishment tray here. This is from Target. I love using these. It just helps to keep everything out in front of me, so that I will use for the bigger ephemera pieces. I have a collection of envelopes here. So some that are from Allie, some from the like story kits or the bigger kits. These ones are from Scrapbook.com. They are like a recent product, that they started selling on their website, and I super love these. It's another Allie, an Allie story kit, and then a couple of glassine bags. I never really know how many stories I'm going to come up with, so I just pull over as many as I have on hand. I have a sticky note pad so I can label the top of the bags with whatever the title of the project is going to be. And then I typically use a sketchbook. This is, again, just an Amazon purchase, and this one I think it's 5.5 wide by 8.5 tall, and this is where I sketch out all of my different ideas. So typically when I sketch these, so let me show you guys like an older, let's see, maybe we'll do a habit one since we just did all the habit stuff, right? So I typically will sketch out the idea, write down the different products that I'm going to be using, maybe some notes about what the story should be about, and then I title it in order to trigger myself to remember what that story was. So when I was working on filming this, because this is the first story kit I've ever done for you guys, or something bigger than like a monthly kit or a Project Life geared kit. This is the biggest one I've done. So when I was getting ready to film this, I decided that one of the things I could do to make this easier on myself and to make this easier on any of you who want to try this process out was to create my own, like something like this, my own sketch page that could just go with the kit, where you didn't have to also like reference a book. It could just be with your packet of supplies. So I have over here, I did print out the handout just to help me come up with some different ideas, or just to get me thinking about lesson stories. Like, I really love taking Allie's classes, and it just helps to get the brain moving. So I have that. I also have, I taught a class through Big Picture Classes. It's called Storytelling with Scrapbooking. And this is one of the handouts that I provide to the people who take that class. So this is just a general like story spark type of page. So going through product, you know, I think it's 6 different ideas and then one spot to sketch. And on here, I've got what the story spark is, the product I want to use, and the photos I need to take. So that is kind of like a general thing. And then it's great. It's great, but I wanted to tweak it and make it a little bit different. So here's what I did. I am going to provide you guys with a link down in my description box for a Dropbox file. In that file, you will find all 4 of these handouts. So these are 2 per page, and I have 4 different ones because I work in 4 different sizes. I know that there are other sizes. If you guys are interested in me creating one for a size that I don't have, just let me know and I can definitely do that super easily. And they are 2 per page. So the reason I did that is because now I can take one of these, fill out my title, the product, and my idea, sketch it out, and then I can literally just fold this in half and include it in my packet, and then I don't have to go reference this book. So I have this for a 3x8 layout. I have it for a 4.25 by 8.25, so traveler's notebook size. I have it for a 6x8 layout, which is typically what I work in the most. And then I also have a 12x12. So that way you can kind of have the scale of what the pages would be to work with. So I'm going to put that in the link down below, and I am going to give these a try this time to fill out my story ideas. So we will go from that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put you guys on fast forward, and I am just going to dive in and figure out as many stories as I can to get this entire thing used up. My goal is to use it all. So I will talk you through my process as I'm doing this, and then once everything is figured out and packaged up, we'll slow back down, kind of go one more time through the different stories, and then we will close out for today. Also today, this is the first Friday of the month, I believe. I don't know if I'm gonna post this before Story Kit Crush Friday or the day of. So if it is the day of, I will have in a separate video that will be a process video for one of the stories we figure out. If it is before Story Kit Crush Friday, then when Friday comes around, you will know that you're going to get one of these stories. So that's that. So let's go ahead and dive in and get this planning started. All right, you guys, so we are going to just jump right into this. The first thing I did was to go ahead and take out all of my ephemera bits and put them into those 2 containers. So all the little pieces are in the divided one, and then the big ones that wouldn't fit in there, I put in the not divided one. Then I grabbed out these acetate tag shapes here, and that is the first thing that I'm going to work with and see what I can think of just by placing them around my desk, see if anything really comes to mind. At that point in time, nothing really did, so I just set them to the side and then decided to move on to my journaling cards. So from my journaling cards, I am going to work through some of the stories that I had pre-thought up in regards to the theme of learn, and just kind of set them around my desk in piles that pertain to the different stories. So I've got the one at the top that says you are capable of amazing things. I have an idea for that one to talk about the teachers who influenced me as a in my primary education. I've got the never stop learning, which would be for a life lesson I want to talk about, and there are plenty more. Now, I'm moving back to those acetate tags because I really want to use those, but I'm not exactly sure how. So I wanted to pull over the ones that had pattern on them to see what it would look like if I put a picture behind it and what it would look like if I put journaling behind it. I think the journaling will look nice, and so I thought that what I would do is set aside those tags and use them for Project Life. So I will show you guys what my thoughts are on that one shortly. So once I have all of those 4x6 cards pretty much set out, anything that I don't have that relates specifically to an idea I have in my head, I'm putting to the side to use for Project Life. Once I had those done, I went through all of my 3x4 cards. And then I'm just going to pull out my notes that I had taken. So I have this print off from Allie's class, and then I also have a notebook next to me that you can't really see that also has some jotted down ideas. And from that, I'm going to start listing out all of my ideas here. I started to get confused on what I had on my table, and so I wanted to just pull out my sticky notes, write down all the different story ideas, and label each of those piles. So as I'm going through this, it'll make it easier to decipher where things will go. So I'm just gonna skip it over, and there they all are. So I've got the last little bit of 3x4 cards there, and then I'm going to take a look at all of it and just review my ideas, the notes that I had jotted down or ideas that I had jotted down on stories I want to tell, and realize that I forgot one of the biggest stories I wanted to tell with this kit, which is talking about Izzy's first day of school. So I'm going to go back through the piles that I already made and decide on a few of the elements that I can take from those piles in order to create a new one that will be her story about starting kindergarten this year. So that is what I'm doing right now. Now, this is like a super duper duper sped up video. I think this is 4 times the speed of what it is normally. So it does, if it feels a little skippy, that's why. I just wanted it to be kind of a reasonable amount of time for you guys. In the future, I did a big intro on this video, and in the future, I am definitely going to not do a big intro, and I think my plan is to film a separate video that just talks through the beginning stages and reference that at the beginning of these videos from now on, because yeah, I want to use as much time for this portion of the video as possible. So now that I have all of those cards figured out and in piles, the next thing I'm going to do is divide out all of the embellishments. So I've got those yellow hearts, or not yellow hearts, yellow stars, which to me made me think of like getting a gold star in school. So I added one to 2 of the different stories, and then 1 went into my Project Life pile. I did the same thing with all of the chipboard. And then for this sheet of stickers, I decided to just cut it all apart, so I could, again, just divide out where they would go or what story they would best suit. Once I did that, cut them all up and saw what I had remaining, yet another story idea emerged. So I had a pile of, I want to say like 10 of them that had one word on them, like grow, learn, teach, and like lots and lots and lots of words. And I thought it would be super cool to do a spread all about lessons learned, but using those single words as jumping off points. So I set that to the side to create a spread there. So now that everything is figured out, I did pull out some of my older chipboard pieces because I know I had a few that I wanted to add to these stories. So I pulled those out. I added what made sense to the stories I had out and to my Project Life pile. And then I'm going to start putting my Project Life stuff back in its envelope right here. I also went and grabbed a couple of day in the life tags that I want to use in some of those stories. So now I've got everything cleared off my table so we can start going story by story, figuring out how these pieces are going to come together. So this first one is going to be my Project Life spread. You can see me writing down some notes there. I wrote things like record school stuff throughout the week, use acetate tags layered over vellum. That's not what I meant to say. I wrote that, but I meant to say over journaling, not over vellum. Anyway, and then I did go ahead and just do a really fast, quick sketch on where I want these cards to go, mostly so I could remember that I wanted to do the tags that had a sentiment on them on their own, and the tags that had a pattern on them with journaling behind it. I just want to remember that for later. So once I have that all done, I package it all up in a big envelope, stick a sticky note on it that just reminds me of the title of it. And the cool thing about having those pages is that I can just fold them and add them to the envelope as well. So this second story is all about Izzy starting school. I took that Never Stop Learning and I cut it in 2 so I can use it for 2 separate stories. It is a 2-inch by 6-inch piece now, which means that it'll fit across a 6-inch page. And that's what I'm gonna do with it. So for this one, I wrote down in the story concept idea to use photos from the first day of kindergarten to talk about homeschool, why we chose to homeschool, what we've learned through our schedule, all that kind of stuff. And the cool thing is a lot of those tags from Day in the Life were perfect. There's one that said for the record. I think I'll use that to talk about why we chose to homeschool. There's one that says schedule, so I'll use that to talk about our schedule, and so on and so on. So for that one, I'm going to do a 6x8 page, and then I'm going to do a 3x8 page that I will stitch on a pocket in order to put those tags down in that pocket. So that is our first official story here. So the next one, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the other story that uses the Never Stop Learning piece, another 2" by 6" piece. This time I have that chipboard piece that I'm going to use as my title. It says, Always Want to Be Learning. And my idea for this one is to write a letter to my kids about learning, about making mistakes, and about trying. So trying, making mistakes, and trying again. Which the cool thing is those 3 little stickers you see say make mistakes, and try again. And I thought that would be really cool to put on the bottom of the page and stitch them on. So that's what I'm going to do with that one and the story concept behind it. For this next one, I really was drawn to that teal card that says always learning something, and there is a little chipboard piece that I took out that says student of life for life. And what I want to do with this one is to use these 2 components inside of my pocket page notebook. So that is a traveler's notebook that has a pocket in between each of the paper pages. And what I want to do is do a full page photo talking about, or just a full page photo of me, I should say, and possibly black and white, then to do a full page of journaling on the other side, and then in between to punch out that sentiment in a circle, put it in the pocket page notebook, and make the pocket page portion a sequin shaker pocket. So that is my idea for that one. Next, we are moving on to a story about teachers who influenced me as a youth. So for this one, I immediately had a couple of teachers come to mind on just people who made a really big difference for me. And so what I'm going to do for this one is to use, again, those green stickers as jumping off points for the lessons I learned from each of these individuals. And like I said, I immediately thought of 4, and then I had to really think about the 5th one. The first 4 were people who influenced me very positively. And the last one, I actually decided to add a teacher to this story who did not like me at all, and talking about how my intention is to talk about how that experience helped to teach me resilience and carrying on even though somebody doesn't like you. So even though it was a negative thing, it still taught me something, and it was still influential. So that one is again going to be a 6x8 page and a 3x8 page. So that is the idea for that one. This one right here is going to be a story for Jonah. I'm using the jumping off point, playing equals learning. And I also really liked the blessed are the curious, for they shall have adventures, because I thought that kind of went along with playing is learning. So for this one, I also pulled out one of those day in the life tags. I'm going to use that to hold some of the photos. And then this is basically going to be 2 full page photos side by side with a tag insert in between. So you saw me sketch there that I'm going to put tabs onto this tag in order to put it into my album. And just have it be loose in there so it won't go into a pocket or anything like that. It's just going to be in there, and you'll be able to just flip it over like a normal page. And then this story, I just want to talk about Jonah and the different ways that he's playing right now and how that's teaching him about the world and about the things around him. So I think that works really well. I had pulled out this half circle chipboard piece that I have been carrying around for a long time, but the colors go so well that I really want to use it. So that got me thinking about circles. and seeing if I could find other circles in my stash. I did go into the Ups and Downs collection and pulled out some of the cork circles and some of those vellum. No, acetate. They're acetate circles. And I think I'm going to attempt to use those on one of the full page photos. Or I guess I should say one side is a full page photo and the other side is pockets, but they are full 6x8 pages. Okay, so that's that one. So playing equals learning. The next story is going to be 7 things I learned from you, or I've learned from you. So this September, September 14th, is Erin and I's 7th anniversary, which is just insane. I can't believe it's already been 7 years. So I thought to celebrate 7 years of marriage, that I want to create a spread talking about 7 things that I've learned from marriage, or 7 things that I've learned from Erin, maybe both combined in there. But I just want it to be really simple. So I'm going to use the I am a work in progress, probably just in a pocket all by itself. I use the other card as a little spot for journaling, just, an area to add some stuff to. And then I really want to do a full page photo and add the journaling on there if I can, just kind of like in some white space. And then I'll stamp a pocket, or I'll stamp a card to put in the pocket on that page as well. So I will, when I go to package that one up, I will add in the stamp set just to help me remember that I want to use it there. This story right here is all sparked from the marketing card that says live as if you were to die tomorrow and learn as if you were to live forever. I love that sentiment, and it got me thinking about living life to the fullest and how that is something that we all have to learn to do. And we're all still learning to do it. And so it got me thinking about that kind of stuff, and I thought that it would be an interesting jumping off point for journaling. So I'm going to pair it with the 1 through 5 journaling card, see if I can transform that into a 3x8 just to give me a little bit of extra journaling space, and then go from there and see what happens. The next story I am telling here is one of my favorites for this kit, and it is Hindsight is 2020, which is a saying that we have all heard, and it could not be more true than it is right now. That hindsight is certainly 2020, and it just seemed really timely with the year being 2020. So I'm going to title this one Hindsight is 2020, Things That This Year is Teaching Me, and to list out 20 things that I have learned in this current year with the current events happening in the world. So I have a couple of journaling cards that I thought went really well with this project, or with this story concept, that says, I've learned that I still have a lot to learn, because I believe that we have all come to that conclusion this year. And I think that one says no regrets in life, just lessons learned. And I think that's also a really great sentiment for this time right now as well. So those are going to go into, I believe, what did I make that into? I made that into 2 of the 6x8s again. I will likely pair it with 1 photo and call it that. This last one is going to be the lessons learned in terms of those 10 little circle stickers. So like I said, they each have a word on them, things like goals and learn and progress, that kind of stuff. And I just want to use those as jumping off points. And I want to put the lessons learned wood veneer piece and that star on an acetate page that will be in between the full page photo and the journaling section on the right side of the page. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and package that one up, put it in its envelope, and then that is going to be it. And just like that, we have 9 stories that we can tell, or that I can tell, using the Learn Story Kit, in addition to some pieces to use for Project Life Spread. So I'm just going to quickly flip through all of these projects just to remind you of all the different stories that I came up with, in the hopes that maybe it will remind you or inspire you of a story that you thought of throughout this process. So we've got lessons learned, about small little lessons learned throughout life. We've got living and learning, so a story about learning about living life to the fullest. We've got Izzy's start of kindergarten, so just like a first day of school. We've got life lessons, never stop learning. We've got I am learning, which is just a journaling page of all the things I'm learning about myself and the world. We've got teachers who made a difference, talking about high school and elementary school and middle school and teachers who made a difference in my life. We've got playing equals learning, which is the perfect story to tell for a toddler, because that is how toddlers learn, is through playing. We've got 7 things I learned from you, which will be an anniversary spread. And I've got Hindsight is 2020, which is going to be my 2020 what I've learned this year spread. And then Project Life. So what I'm going to do now is sign off of here. Just as an FYI, this whole process of putting all of these stories together and sketching them out, so from beginning to end, was roughly 2 hours is what it took me. So that's a lot of footage to edit down. So hopefully I can get this video down to a reasonable amount of time. So it took me 2 hours to do this, but this is going to save me an immense amount of time later. And I also know that everything has a name, everything has a purpose. So nothing is going to go back into my stash in the sense of like, it's just sitting there waiting for a magical day when I want to use it. So it's just ready to go. The stories are there. All I need to do is sit down and tell them. Okay, so with that, I am going to let you guys go. I will be back either today or someday very soon in the future to show you guys the process of putting one of these together. I hope that you guys will tune in on Fridays to the Story Kit Crush series, and we have lots of other crafters joining in the fray. So in addition to Tashi, we also have our friend Kasha and our friend Lauralee on Instagram, in addition to many of you guys out there. So if you found inspiration in this video, and if this sparked an idea for you, tell me in the comments down below what story you can tell using the Learn Kit or something like the Learn Kit. All right, I will catch you guys later. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye now.